Hi everyone, I am back. I am back to discuss additional videos around the whole experience of breast cancer. I did not think that I would be back to do more videos after, I think it was video 17, where I discussed the side effects of tamoxifen. I wasn't quite anticipating that these videos would indeed be helpful to some individuals who are going through it and experiencing it, and it's nice to hear from somebody other than a doctor or a medical professional kind of what we're going through, even though each of us is going through our own experience. And as we've all learned, every experience is a little bit different. So I thought I'd pop on here for now. I have some thoughts for some additional videos coming up, so I will try to not necessarily rapid fire them, but get out at least one a week. If not, if I can do any more, I will, but there's other things that go on in life, so I'll do my best to kind of get you up to speed as to where I am since I last posted that video, because obviously more time has gone by and more experiences have gone by. So as a reminder, I am Tina Moody, and I was diagnosed with stage 1 invasive breast cancer earlier this year. For multiple reasons, in addition to my lumpectomy, I decided on a bilateral reduction. So I was recovering from that for a bit. My margins from both the tumor as well as the lymph nodes that they took were all clear through pathology, which was great news. My Oncotype DX score, which is basically, the recurrence score, came back low enough that I did not need chemo, and I was very grateful for that, and I feel for anybody that does have to go through that treatment. My radiation dosage was what's the terminology? It was fragmented into 16 doses, which I took over, or not took, I had over a 4-week period. What else? I began tamoxifen about 2.5 weeks after my last radiation treatment, and have been managing the side effects of that pretty well. And on a side note, soon after I finished my radiation and as I was starting on tamoxifen, I got the all clear on my pap smear, on my colonoscopy. My PCP sent me in for a baseline of bone density, which came back fine, but now we have the baseline as I, one, age and go through menopause, or reach menopause, I should say, and two, just to see the side effects, potential side effects of any tamoxifen issues or the radiation. What else did I have done? I feel like there was one more. She also sent me to the dermatologist for a full body scan to see how things look, just in case I'm more susceptible, which the dermatologist didn't feel that there was a correlation between the two, but just in case, that's been done. So although I have had some follow-ups with doctors since I last talked to you, it's been fairly quiet and strange in some ways to go from the intensity, as you know, of doctor appointments to you're done. The doctor appointments kind of end for a moment, which is great in some ways. So that's what some of the future videos will be about, is just that process of go, do, have these major things done, and then it's over, and kind of where we are mentally. And so I will touch on some of the mental aspects of this too, as well as somebody had requested more talk on the side effects, or what at least I'm seeing for the side effects, because I feel as though the videos that come up out there, the range of side effects are great. And again, we're each different. I have tried to stay away from other videos that talk crazy talk about side effects. And the reason being is that we are interesting little creatures. And if somebody puts that thought into our head about, oh my God, these are my side effects, then we wait for them and we kind of feed that energy to them. So I did it one day. I saw somebody had posted a video of somebody that was at the same phase as I was, or same kind of number of weeks, I guess, or months after getting on tamoxifen, and they started listing their side effects. And I panicked, and then I just shut it off because I'm like, no, like I didn't even know one of them was a side effect. And I'm like, I don't need that in my head. So anyway, I guess that's it. So that's some of the stuff that I'll be doing in the future. But for today, what I want to share with all of you, in case any of you can relate to it, is that coming out of radiation, let's step back. Going through, the lumpectomy and the reduction, I was acting a little gingerly, I guess, for lack of better words, with myself, because I could feel it. And for anybody that's gone through it, you know what it is. You feel it when you, I don't know, tug the wet laundry to move it from the washer or the dryer, or tug the bedding to make the bed in the morning. I could feel it. And so I had this concern that just wasn't going away. And I was wrapped up with then going through radiation and going through my youngest, going through graduation. I volunteered for a little too much activities in addition to co-hosting a couple of parties as I was going through it all. And it wasn't until after graduation ended, now I was a week into tamoxifen, that it was put in front of me and I couldn't look away or be distracted by anything else, that I had developed a very big apprehension toward getting back to my old physical self. Now, I'm not a crazy physical person, but I am, I guess, active as far as, especially when we hit nice weather here in the Northeast, that we like to kayak, we like to bike, we like to hike, and just get out there. The other thing are the less adventurous type of activities, and that would be, I was scared to death to do a push-up. I was realizing that I needed to stretch a bit more. And so those are the things I was realizing I needed to incorporate, and I just could not get past it. And I guess for that matter, when I could have started getting out and walking, I was finding those other excuses that I just mentioned not to get out. And that's, I had that tight piriformis that locked me up. And so had I engaged more in my activity sooner, maybe that would have stretched out my piriformis, and I wouldn't have had to be dealing with that issue at the same time that I was dealing with all of this. So that's kind of what I want to share today is what approach I took. And I'm not saying anything that I do is right or accurate, but if it can be relatable to anybody, I want to share. So what I decided to do was bully myself. I know that sounds awful. A little peer pressure of myself. So I had my first appointments soon there around that same time with the medical oncologist team, as well as my plastic surgeon. And ironically, I had just been invited to participate in a multi-day kayaking trip. So I used that opportunity to tell them that I was thinking about doing this. I told them of my apprehension. Both teams gave me the go-ahead to bike, to kayak, that there's no limitations as to what I could do as long as I was feeling comfortable with it. And it's not that I had this fear that everything was going to burst open and fall out by any means, but again, just occasionally those tugs, I could still feel a little bit. And so I worried about putting the weight on biking. I worried about that movement of kayaking, depending on the wave level, going with the tide, going against the tide. And so I shared with them, they gave the sign off. And with that, my partner and I signed on for this kayaking trip, which was twofold in a way that you know, it was not only me going out and testing, but it was also sleeping out in a tent. And for those of us that know, sleeping is an adjustment too. You know, I think at that time I was probably just going onto my side, and everything shifts over and you feel it. Like I still feel it today, as when I get up in the mornings, it feels like everything is going down to those incisions. So it was a big step, and it took a minute. I had some angst about it, but it was time to rip the Band-Aid off. So I'm guessing that you may do different experiences. And again, I'm not saying my experiences are the right ones, but I had to get through this for my own health as well, right? So my Band-Aids being ripped off, we kind of did it in a 3 to 4 week period and got me comfortable. And so I just want to share them, because here's what having those experiences did for me. So we started off first with a bike ride. We started on a trail that people walk. It was 9 miles, so I went 4.5 out and back. It was fairly level. I'm very fortunate to live here in Maine, where we have access to that, and it brought us through a marsh, which is pretty. So while I waited for my partner to go on, he kind of extended the trip, I got to sit kind of oceanside and wait for him. And that's therapy for me, quite honestly, being outside and being around the ocean. So that was a great one. That kind of allowed me to take a breath, because never did I feel it, that pressure on the bikes and on the handles. And I thought for sure that I would, and I didn't. And it was okay. And so we followed that up like 3 days later and went on that kayak adventure again. We pared it back to just one night, which I think was okay, because of sleeping on the ground. And part of that, let's be honest, is I'm 54 years old, and sleeping on the ground has lost its fun factor a little bit, even if you have a little cushion and a pillow. And so couple that with still the awkwardness. But the great part of it was getting out. I really focused a lot on my form in kayaking, so that I wasn't doing any awkward pull. And there was only one point where it felt a little tweaky, but that could have been some scar tissue getting me as well. But for the most part, it was fabulous. We kayaked to a lake via a river. So we paddled the river in the rain, and we got to the lake. There was eagles and loons. It was beautiful. We did get caught in a storm, but what that storm brought were these incredible clouds that brought me to tears. It was such a healing trip for me, and I can't encourage people enough to get out in nature, preferably a little deeper in nature if you can, away from people or fewer people, and give yourself some stillness and alone time to experience it. And whether you believe this or not, just connect, I guess, to hear the whispers, to see the clouds and the stories that they're telling, to see these magnificent creatures, be it the loons or the eagles, at all different various forms of maturity. So that was such a big trip. I had really wanted to go on it, and I needed that confidence boost, as well as just the healing of getting out there and doing it. So with that, the second adventure was checked off, and realizing that I'm okay. Like, I've got this. I've now biked and I've kayaked. So we did a couple, oh gosh, I have to share this one, even though I don't have any videos on it, but my partner convinced me to go on a bike ride, leaving our house and going. And instead of going like 8 miles, because we're going to be hitting hills, I agreed to the 15.8 mile loop. And mind you, my stamina was not where it was. I was out of shape because I had this reluctance and this healing phase and surgery and everything. And I got like, I'm a pretty easygoing person. I don't know if you can tell by these videos. I got mad at the hills. I don't know that I've been that angry at something like this in a long time. And to the point that, like, I don't think he was used to it either. Like the first stop where he was waiting for me because I was sucking it going on the hills, I'm like, I'm ready to be done. I have nothing to prove here. And then we kept going. And so the next massive hills, he waited at the end, and I'm like, okay, no, for realsy here. I want you to go, please go and get the truck and come back and get me. And then he got it. And he's like, do you want to just sit here and wait? And I said, no, I'm going to keep biking, but I have nothing to prove. I'm not healthier. I'm not more mentally strong if I continue and complete this. I don't need to. Like, this has been a big trip already. And so he kept biking and I kept biking. And by the time he got home, got the truck and came back and got me, I was on mile 14 on the last hill. Could have finished it. Yes, I could, but I needed to show myself that I wasn't any less for not completing it. We both know I could have done, an additional 1.8 miles, but it wasn't necessary in what I was doing. So, or what I needed to do for myself that day. So that was the only maybe not positive one. But anyway, we kept going and we did what did we do next? We went up to Carabasset Valley, which I've done videos on before. It's one of my favorite places. There's the Carabasset River. That is this shallow river that I love. And here's a couple of pictures I'll share with you. We went up there and we biked. So they have there is a little uphill as you're heading up toward the mountain, but it's an old narrow gauge trail. And so it's nothing crazy. I think from where we parked, it was 5 miles up, 5 miles back. We did a little off single track biking. The next day we did some tougher stuff that I hadn't done in years since he had first introduced me to it. I have to say my skill level was better than it was back then. My stamina may have actually still been better. And I was starting to do more. I was actually doing my exercises. I'd incorporated workouts at least 3 days a week. I had started doing my push-ups. So that was actually helping make me stronger to be able to maneuver around some rocks and all that. So I had to do all this slowly. But when I say slowly, it was over 3 or 4 weeks, and I could feel, now I'm at ease. And, I'm going to throw pickleball in there too. Love it or hate it. It helped get me back out there, be competitive, laugh a lot. And so it was a compilation of all those things. And then we kind of concluded the month with a trip up to Acadia National Park. And normally we don't go during the summers because there's too many tourists. And this year, from what I'm hearing, they exceeded all numbers since, I don't know, back in the 80s or something crazy like that. But we went up and somehow we managed to find peace. And so when we go up there, we like to call it together but separate. We'll go biking, and I'm not so big on somebody biking right behind me, so I'd send Tom forward, and we do our own thing. And so we both had these lovely bikes. I met some nice people. I ate a lot of blueberries. And by then I was feeling back to myself. Like, the stamina still has a little bit of room, but it wasn't much different than my norm, especially like my norm in the spring when I'm just coming out of I haven't biked a lot. So that was my month of getting back to where I knew I could be. And I don't know. It's interesting, the mental and physical aspects of it. I built those hurdles, and I had a lot of apprehension about it. And so I'm glad to be through it. Am I 100% on everything? No. Like I'm tentative with my upper body workouts a little bit more. I'm just trying to slowly build them back because I know my PCP thinks I should be getting into heavy weights as I get to, through perimenopause into menopause and with the tamoxifen. And I'll get there. We have a gym downstairs, so I'm fortunate with that. So when I'm ready, I'll do that. But I'm just going to take it to what feels okay for me right now. And if I'm doing an exercise that doesn't feel right, then I adjust it out. The other thing is stretching. And I think I've mentioned this in the last video. For me, stretching is now absolutely 100% essential practice. And it's not, I have some damage on my lower back, which makes it necessary. The piriformis syndrome was real. I mean, as I'm recovering, I was rolling out of bed onto the floor. That's a daily thing that I need to work on. And then I borrowed, and I think I might have said this in the last video, I borrowed a bolster, yoga bolster, that's hard to say together, yoga bolster from my sister who teaches it, and I lay on it every day. And because for me, I'm noticing the further I'm getting out of surgery, I'm starting to feel the scar tissue. And so every day I get this left arm up. Like the right arm is fine, but this left arm, if I don't stretch it every day, it's starting to get a little buggy. So, and if it's doing that this soon, I feel like it's going to be a lifetime of making sure I keep that stretched. And then lastly, real quickly, I know I just went long on this, and there'll be other opportunities to talk about things. Body work. I just talked to my sibling about getting back in. She does Thai yoga massage, and I'd had some services done, if you remember, through the local cancer center who has practitioners trained for oncology patients. So I'd had a lot of acupuncture, Reiki, and massage from people that knew what they were doing. And the other, well, I don't know, about a month or so ago, or maybe during that time, I went to my sister's because she was trying to get a website up and running, and so she was going to do that Thai yoga massage. So you're fully clothed and all. And my nephew is in there taking photos that could go up on the website. So with that, I got a little bit of a free treatment, and she really, especially this arm, worked it and got in here and did some releases. You have to be cautious and make sure people are aware if you've had lymph nodes out as well. But for what she was doing, it was okay. And she got to one point, and I've heard of this happening, but it hadn't happened to me. She hit something that released in me, and I started blubbering like I don't think I've ever blubbered, or haven't blubbered that much in a long time. And we realize we all have trauma trapped. Now, some of that is old trauma, and I sometimes attribute some of my old stuff to this. But this was probably trauma from this whole ordeal. And it's, I was in the cancer center just last week and was talking to the massage person by chance because I went to a class, which I'll do a video on it at another point. But we were talking about massage, and I was telling her that this is getting a little tighter. So anyway, we were discussing it all, and I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, so I told my I'd like to say that's a side effect of tamoxifen, but it very well may just be a side effect of being 54 and being deep into perimenopause. I'm not sure. Anyway, don't know where I was going with that, and I'm just gonna let it go anyway. And I think that's it. So I am over my physical block. I came to terms with it. I can't recommend it enough. Facing some of this stuff, you can do it. Get through the hurdle. Get out in nature, though. because it is so healing to be out there. And, you know, I haven't been as good as I should be about it. And I know I need to be better. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna leave because it's getting a little long. I will be back. We're gonna talk about some of our self-care toolbox stuff. We're gonna talk about more side effects of the tamoxifen. We're going to talk about the cancer centers a little bit and how we can utilize those if we have access to them. And I have some other notes down, which I can't remember either. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for liking or subscribing them. I appreciate that. I hope you're all doing well. Please comment. I try to answer every comment, even if it's from a video that I posted months ago, because whenever you're watching this, that's what you're going through right now. And I want you to know that you have an ear here, because there are some moments that we need an ear. And I guess that's it. So much love and gratitude to you for joining me. And I hope you take very good care of yourselves.